In 5.A.2, we'll do a little more review on evaluating expressions involving exponents, really focusing on just, especially with the negative values of the variable, what it looks like and how we evaluate it. So to evaluate x cubed, if x equals -2, we're saying let's let x be this value, let's plug it in, substitute. Remember, with evaluating with substitution, you definitely want to be using parentheses, and the key is to put the parentheses right where that variable was and leave everything else alone. Right? So just replace that x with those parentheses, and then in those parentheses goes the number that x is equal to. And now you've got your problem, -2 to the third. So that's 3 copies of -2. If you want to or need to write it out, feel free to. But that's -2 times -2, which is a +4, and then +4 times -2 for -8. All right, next one, x to the fourth. So again, plugging in for x will look like that, replacing it with a -2. If I write that out, that's 4 copies of -2 multiplied together. Here I'm going to go ahead and just do these two. -2 times -2 is +4. I'll do those two. That's another 4, and 4 times 4, giving me +16. Real quickly, just to point out from these last two examples, when you've got an odd power, when you've got an odd number of negatives, notice each pair gives you a positive, but an odd number of them means there'll be one left over, so we actually would know that any odd power, any odd exponent will result in a negative value, whereas any even power, any even exponent, means you're going to have pairs of negatives, which will all multiply to positives, so you'll actually always be guaranteed a positive exponent. Now again, that's in this form when you are cubing the entire negative number, or basically raising that power to the entire negative number. We can know that kind of a sign pattern will exist. All right, in example 3, just a little bit more involved, but again, the idea, write it exactly how it looks, start from left to right, but where you see your variable, that's where you're putting the empty parentheses. Everything else stays the same. Now we'll throw a -2 into that x, where that x was, and evaluate. We'll use order of operations here, so we're going to do exponent first. That's just squaring the -2, and that's it. So that's -2 times -2, which would be a +4. But then we would do multiplication next. 12 minus 1, last step. 12 minus 1, 11.